me take a time out to say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you viewing GBN TV, good morning to you also. What about our social media platforms? Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning, welcome. It's to the point. It's Tuesday, the 15th day of April. 2025. Good morning. I'm your host, GT. And with me this morning, representing, of course, it's Opposition Tuesday here on the program. We have, of course, Mr. Christopher Allie Jr. with us this morning. Let me say good morning to you, sir. Welcome. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Good morning to you and to all your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're certainly welcome. I simply go by the name of GT. I can work with that.
All right, this is Chris.
That's right. So if you can work with Chris, I work with GT. Yeah. Welcome to the program, and it's certainly nice to have you. I think it's our first opportunity having a conversation on this level. As to get the ball rolling off this morning, Chris, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background. As you know, of course, folks may know of your dad, you understand, and so forth. Tell us something about Christopher Allie Jr., if I could say it that way.
I guess I'm a young Grenadian. I am an entrepreneur. I am a son. I am a patriot. I'm a member of the executive party. I believe a lot in my country and my people. I went to study abroad when I was younger to the UK. I got my undergrad there in business and finance, and I moved later on came back for a year. Mm-hmm. And kind of like try to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I wasn't sure as yet, so I went and had more studies to it. Did a postgrad certificate in financial planning. And then after working a couple of years there in a investment finance kind of role, I kind of got really, really burnt out and disillusioned with living away. Yeah. And when I came back home, I tried to figure out, where do I fit in Grenada? How do I build a future? How do I sustain it? And how do I try to build a life that's happy and fulfilling? Mm-hmm. And it took several reiterations. I worked for auditing firm. I worked in a credit union. I tried to do a lot of business loans. And that's where I fell in love with seeing the opportunity in business in Grenada. I started a business. And, the journey has its ups and downs. But, that has led me to here. And I completely love where it has taken me.
All right. I see hear that. No, we've seen the aspiration of you to want to get into politics for some reason or the other. I'm not sure the depth of it. Of course, you're involved in politics for someone because you're part of the new executive, as you mentioned, of the new National Party. What was that inspiration? And what specifically drove you to be part of the new National Party?
I don't know. I say I had some deep burning zeal to go into politics. It wasn't like that. Personally, I'm very, very close to my grandmother, and she was a very important part of my life. And in the later stages of her life, she couldn't facilitate. She was a big stalwart of the party. And one of her, in her lucid moments, she really expressed to me when I was over that she would like me to use my youthful energy and help a boy doc.
Yeah.
And try. And she said whatever that took. And that's where it started. I volunteered as basically a driver for the party, doing little things for helping them run around an election. And eventually evolved from there. People asked me to do more. I participated more. And I became a member of a family. And I started to see all the opportunities in my country to grow my fellow Grenadians and how to help build people. I believe young people need to be a part of the conversation more.
How happy are you to see young people in politics as a young gentleman yourself? How happy are you to see young people? How do you feel about young people showing that interest in overall politics here in Grenada? Even though they may not be putting themselves much to the forefront, but they're involved some way or the other. How are you as an individual yourself, young individual yourself, happy to see things of that nature taking place? Or how encouraged are you even more to see that taking place?
I mean, I think it's a sign of the times, to be honest. Our country is 60% really youthful, and our country is changing from the ground up, and there are more people who look like me in the electorate than people who look like my father. And that is just the reality of time and demographics. I've tried to tell all young people that the things that matter to you, you should be more proud to speak these things loudly, the things that you want to see take part in your society. In the grand scheme of things, Grenada is a small community in a larger world community. If we can't in a nation of 110,000, kind of like do away with a lot of bureaucracy and small-mindedness and create a harmonious kind of community where we can push and grow our people to thrive, I think that is the type of community and country we all want to build.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a time where we should allow fear to dominate us, to think that because you're afraid to be ridiculed or chastised by a few, that it should deter anyone to do what they believe is passion, and they think that's important to them. I think everybody should take part more loudly. It may not be in the sense of they may be in frontline politics. It may be in the sense that they're supporting, they're giving ideas, they're helping craft policy in the background. They're taking part in their own way. Not everybody is like built for the spotlight. And I think that when we encourage and more young people see young people stepping forward, I think it helps embolden others. I think we have a great opportunity to lift up a lot more young people in the mindset of that we can build our country and we can have the solutions to the problems of the future.
All right, I agree with that there. Now tell me, you as a newcomer yourself, in the political scene, what fresh perspective do you think you bring, especially to the new National Party?
I think in terms of my own belief, I believe in the working class Grenadian.
Yeah.
I believe the people who make up the private sector, and that doesn't mean just people who are entrepreneurial, the people who are part of the big businesses all around our country, those people who wake up 7 o'clock in the morning to make it to work for 8 o'clock, those people who strive to try to build their family and go up in the corporate ladder to make sure they can build themselves and their community. I am trying to fight for those people. I think those people have been disenfranchised, that they believe policies have not been more dynamic and have not been more forward-leaning, and they need to see people who are taking bolder risk and people who are ready to grasp different changes in the economy and adapt them to the country.
All right. Now, I'm assuming you have been around and of course, letting your presence be felt in the political arena here in Grenada. Speaking to young people like yourselves, speaking to the elderly as you move around and so, what is that feeling you get in the as an overall, in all, I should say, of the feel of the political landscape in Grenada today?
Well,
what kind of impression are you picking up?
Well, going in the community the politics thing has been new to me. So a lot of in the community work, going into all areas in the countryside, down in the south, town, St. John, St. Mark's, it starting to do the nitty gritty and talking to people and doing door to door. One commonality people keep bringing up to me, and that is the bread don't breaking right.
Yeah.
The feeling that no matter if they get a salary increase, the bills increase.
Yeah.
They're still stagnant. The feeling of the owner of the business who is navigating turbulent waters because changes in freight and cost of goods change on a whim, and he has to either bear that cost or put it onto the consumer. And he don't want to disenfranchise his consumer too much. He wants to retain some market share. So it is not even looking very good on his margins either. So when you ask people in the community, they just keep saying the bread don't breaking right. And what are we doing to craft policies to allow people to feel some sort of alleviation in these circumstances? And it's pretty simple. For the common working man, the two biggest bills for him is food and electricity. These are aspects that I know that we can control. Yeah. We have South America right there. The goods are coming out from South America, going to Miami and coming back down to us at an added cost. Why are we not doing more trade missions with our private sector, developing ties through Brazil, Peru, create overland routes to a CARICOM country like Guyana, and barge those freights over to Grenada? These things are not impossible. It just takes a little bit more working of the system. We need to figure out how electricity and utility costs can come down in a great way. We should not have Grenlec being 95% of the cost of electricity. We're supposed to say within 5 years, we're supposed to be at 50%. How are we encouraging the private sector to take advantage of that opportunity? To create energy banks, a commercial grid where we have 10, 40-foot containers of batteries all around the country, storing wave energy. I mean, these are things that are available to us, and the technology is out there. Why are we not taking bolder moves into creating an ecosystem that allows everybody to thrive?
You touch on a subject matter there that folks may look at it at different angles, especially when it comes to electricity costs and food costs. A vast majority of individuals, they may say the control factor comes into play here, where we don't control the electricity, especially when it comes to how we reproduce it. If I put it in that way, we have to pay for the gas that comes to feed us. How are we going to do that? You understand? We may not have the natural resources in the abundance way that we wanted to. How are government to control that part of it? You understand? Or the entity that supplies the electricity to us. Food. In Grenada today, we don't of course, less than 60% of the food that we consume is imported. Or should I say, or even more. 60% of the food that we consume are imported into the country. And I'm just giving a big figure. It could be even more. We could be doing 90%, the food imported. So how do you see, and then you said a lot there, but how do you see the control factor comes into play as government? And as a young person who's looking in, you an entrepreneur, as you mentioned, how do we get the control factor into that to make it more sustainable for the consumer in general?
Well, you can see from what the new National Party strive to do was to create a level of control back in Grenlec, to take away that, because at the end of the day, a private sector business at the end of the day is to make profit. That is, it's to shareholders and the stakeholders is to make profit.
Yes.
Now, having that as an entity and a sole entity in a country is creating a natural monopoly. I believe to anything else, create more capitalism, create more opportunity for other people to get involved. That means democratization of the energy sector. Grenlec should not be the only one. And why not? Why do you give licenses to, you have Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PUC. We have them there as a utility body to manage public utilities.
How effective is that anyway?
I'm not sure, but I would like to see more of them being involved in creating more frameworks for other people, for private capital to come in and help where that we don't have to take so much fossil fuels and create energy. We have natural resources. It's just wind, water, like waves, and sunlight. Now, those natural resources are not constantly available, not 24 hours, but waves are, tide is, and storing that power, and then you balancing out the grid so that we don't have blackouts. And that private individual now can have the opportunity to sell back at Grenlec, and they can be the moderator on price and when it's more expensive, when it's cheaper. There's ways around it. There's nothing new in the world. You can look at other countries in Scandinavia and where they're more open in terms of they're using their natural forms of energy to create things. We have geothermal. I see the government is trying in geothermal, and I think that's great. We need more of that, but we need more dynamic people involved to create more opportunities for everybody.
Costs will come to play into this.
Of course.
Costs will come to play in terms of the geothermal, the wind energy, and all of that. It's the startup for this is not always cheap.
Yeah.
You understand? And the economy that Grenada have the nature of our economy may not able to get it. It's going in an instant. But do you believe if the government put the right minds into it, it could be achieved?
I think with anything, I believe in incentivization of good behavior and de-incentivization of behavior that is no longer better for our system. And government role is to incentivize that good behavior, to open up the lanes of capital and free enterprise, to allow more opportunity and more competition, because that way the consumer will get the better value out of everything.
It's time for us to take a break. When we come back, I want us to get into the conversation a wee bit as you being an entrepreneur yourself, the small business in Grenada. I want us to chat a little bit about that when we come back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out. Stay with us.
Grendec Community Partnership Initiative.
On behalf of Netball Grenada, we want to say a special thank you for the contribution made. We are certain that the contribution that had been given would be put into good use and we would bring home great results.
Grendec, energizing our community.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-845. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plain Field from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. Certainly welcome back. Chris, welcome back once again. Let's as I mentioned to you before the break, I want to get into your thoughts and your feelings, especially when it comes to small business here in Grenada. You know, the support that has been offered. What kind of support do you think is essential for small business struggling, you know, under the current economic conditions that we face here in Grenada? What kind of support do you think is needed?
Well, I think it's a very complicated answer to that one. It's several. Because for a small business person, there's always turbulence, especially in a new enterprise. Now, the fact is financing has been the same for the last 50 years in terms of commercial bank and a development bank. And both operate along the same structure, basically, in terms of monthly loan payments, fixed costs, these kind of things. The business has to generate consistent revenues to make sure to pay those bills. We need new types of way to finance young enterprises in new sectors, because in those sectors there would be failure, but there also have to be a lot more, I guess, more dynamicism in how we approach lending.
Yeah.
We need to think about like private equity, venture capital, as that we have a large amount of savings within the country. I think the last ECCB figure was over 3 billion EC dollars stored in banks in savings. We need to find a way to take that capital out of a stasis and like put that capital in a way that it can generate proper return on capital for people. So you're not getting any interest in a bank anymore. That's pretty much not existent. What you really need to do is to find ways for us to grow our capital with people who are savers in our country. Creating a system where we have more professionals directing capital and helping build and mentoring young business people, because they maybe have the idea, the energy, and the market know-how, but they also not a very good accountant. They may not be very good at strategic planning. They may not be good of like understanding operational issues. And that is where we need more mentorship, a system where we create that young people can allow to fail and try again. And not that the fact that they one business, they tried, they failed, and then they feel I have to leave this country and go abroad and try to make it for myself because, I don't want
Which
to
may
be known
even
as-
be more difficult, right?
Exactly. And I don't want to see like more of my fellow young people leaving the Grenada and trying to find opportunities elsewhere when we need more of us to come back in and struggle and fight and help build this country. So yes, I think there's a lot of opportunity in Grenada. You can just go Barbados and come back and say, wow, we ain't doing enough. There's so much more to be done in tourism, in bettering our tourism product. There's so much to be done in help building our tourism product that where it can be transported internationally. And like people can say, yeah, boy, I love this rum from Grenada, and I love this product from like the nutmeg. Or we need to create things that we are more identifiable on the world stage. It's good to be unique and embracing that uniqueness as a country, and also creating an environment where we don't feel left behind.
For small business, incentive is a big factor also, because I think no one wants to get into a business and don't see any returns. What kind of incentive would you think that government could do more? Yes, you spoke alone about the capital. You spoke a wee bit about that, but there's other incentive what do you think other incentive that could be derived from government to help these small businesses that are struggling here? And when we see them failing from time to time because you state various reasons why they fail. You understand? For various reasons they fail. Let's talk about the incentive factor that you think government should be offering more to businesses in terms of getting them to be more sustainable.
I mean, you could obviously start at the main one, which would be a level of taxation regime that is amenable to new businesses.
Yeah.
Even though they make past the threshold of $300 and some $1,000, that they shouldn't be taxed. They should be allowed to retain that capital and invest it back in the business to grow. So that we should look at that at taxation as well. But also, we also forget that there's a World Bank doing business index. Why are we so far down the chart as a small country? We should be trying to find ways where we're in the top 20 or 30 countries in the nation. We're a small country. We can create a level of ecosystem that we don't have to pay. Like currency is still a stamp where you have to we're not clearing a parcel, have to buy a stamp. That shouldn't be happening. Like in this day and age, we should be able to have a seamless system where I can go online, open a business, register it, pay for it, and get it incorporated, and within an hour, 2 hours. We should be able to make the system easier for the layman to become an entrepreneur, to have his taxi business incorporated, and understand how to benefit from a better taxation system, create more employment for the accountants, private accountants who could advise and tell people how to take advantage of these things. We need to create a little system that, we're thinking about the problem more actively. And that is what I think should happen.
Tell me something about that again. What in the various communities around, what could you talk about, in particular, the issues that you see in business and communities that are, passionate and that are so passionate to you and you think needs to be addressed a whole lot?
In what way?
Well, a different way. Okay, let's say, for example, there's a particular issues in particular communities, especially the small shops and so forth, that in communities that you may have visited or know about. What are these passionate? What that is so passionate to you, especially about these small businesses that you think that could be, that could be addressed some way or the other?
Man, I think we have so much local talent.
Yeah.
And we have such a budding entrepreneurial base. It just needs to be more watered more. You can see how when you drive along the roadside, coming along, you see more and more shops and a little barber shop here. It may not look right. It may not be good for the traffic situation. But what you really see there is people willing to take a try. They're willing to bet on themselves.
Well, we see most of the people are getting into that same business, which is becoming a problem.
Yeah, and I agree that there should be a lot more monitoring, but we also should inspire these people too to diversify.
Yeah.
Like, think of it. Why do I, when on the way home, I pass 5 barbecue stands? Like, not even that far away from each other. You know what I mean? We're an island.
Yeah.
Why don't I have a barbecue stand person here, then a man who just doing pork ribs alone, only pork? And next man down the road, he just doing grilled lionfish. You know, and that's his thing, on grilled octopus and seafood in general.
So there's a variety.
There's a variety. We don't have to like tell someone you have to do chicken and chips and no. Inspire your people to take a little risk. Like, you see a man selling corn. Roast corn is lovely, but when you go on YouTube and you type in like Mexican corn, and you see how they men take roast corn to a new level. They add so much different like cayenne salt and different things to make the vibes better. And that is what I want to do for my people, to just inspire to make the vibes better for everybody. We should not think about business as just seeing an opportunity that someone is taking advantage of and think maybe I just do the same and take advantage of the same thing. What you can see there is that there's a market. There is a desire for people on the way home to buy some food instead of going home and cook. So create more variety, because not everybody's a meat eater. Somebody like fish and somebody like ITIL. Create that harmony.
Somebody could be doing salads on the side of it.
Exactly.
I understand, but you see, what is needed to be done by government, would you say? If 7 individuals in that same community decide they're doing barbecue chicken, where should government step in there? You understand? To speak to these individuals and speak to these individuals in communities, from your point of view, being in the opposition looking in, to make everyone comes up with something different in terms of what they offer to individual. You know, how does government fit into that?
Well, you can
So
see
that everyone does not come out and sell barbecue chicken. I mean, we kind of
agree.
focused on the chicken
Yeah,
other
I
thing this
understand.
morning. But, there had to be some way that government could come in and incentivize individuals to do something different.
Well, I do
That would
believe-
also be profitable to everyone in the long run. And not just take business from another because you all are doing the same thing. Someone may know Chris more than they know GT, so they feel they will support Chris. And I think that's where the problem rolls in with a lot of these individuals who do the same thing.
I agree.
Because of who knows them more will support them. Because, it's only obvious.
I think it starts at facilities.
Yeah.
You can see that people are trying, but they're using wherever the space they can get, and sometimes it's not the best.
Yeah.
Government needs to take an active role in providing the facilities, food park, and let it work in conjunction with GTA and our young tourism professionals coming out in the food and beverage space.
Yeah.
You may not be able to change a whole system in a day, but what you can do is plant the seeds for a future. And I think that inspiring the young people to be creative, allowing them the opportunities to like go into a food park and create these businesses, these micro businesses, and is an opportunity that government needs to take an active role in. And we can see that we do need more facilities, and I think it could start from facilities and help in like enhancing that.
Now, what sort of ideas do you have, of course, that we can go on about managing the escalating cost of living, especially here in, as Grenadians in general? What sort of ideas do you have we could go on,
Well,
especially when it comes to cost of living?
cost of living is right now our biggest problem we would face as a nation. I do believe that we import heavily, and we can't control every aspect of cost of living. Some of those are imported, and we have to take those things. But what we can start creating is an ecosystem internally.
Yeah.
Why is that? For every person who is in a food and beverage space, they're buying a big packet of fries, and that's coming from away. You don't even know where the potato and the fries are made or how it's made. You just know it's easy, it's frozen. I take it up, pop it in the fryer, let's go. Why don't we have our farmers and our government agency that helps promote the farmers, why don't we have more breadfruit chips, more sweet potato chips? Why don't we have local farmers with the right machinery doing more value added and supplying our food and beverage spaces? We should not be in a country that has so much breadfruit trees and some of them spoiling on the ground. And we are not taking that and creating a value added product that our local businesses could use. That takes down a lot of our inflationary costs, because These things are locally available, some value added, obviously, but we can create a system where those business owners and those people thriving, trying to make a business move, can have the equipment and have the direction to the market where this would be greatly accepted.
All right. Tell me, what individual would you recommend? I mean, give me some recommendations to help to reduce food prices here in Grenada.
Maybe we need to start thinking about how do we drop taxes on the port? Yeah. How do we create the less costs for the person? And you have to monitor the people who are not dropping their costs when things get cheaper too. There needs to be more management in knowing who is taking advantage and who is actually just, some people would take advantage of a margin because people are accustomed paying that price. Yeah. But we need the government to step in those cases and say, dial that back a bit. And how do we help to make sure these staple products, this basket of goods for the average Grenadian family is affordable, that everybody can have a healthy meal at every day. That is a basic requirement of a country that we need to focus on. We cannot, due to size of our country, we probably would never be to crazy commercial numbers. We just don't have this land space. But I think we should create a dynamic local economy where we have the variety. It may not be one person doing meat alone, but it may be several. It may be 10 different, 20, 30 different farmers doing the same thing, but creating that harmony in the system that allows us to have more availability of locally made products and at a decent price that we can not take so much of the brunt of the imported costs.
All right. We due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, Chris, we got much more to talk about. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We coming right back. Don't touch it out.
Looking.
Angie, don't you know that you should not fly kites near electrical poles and wires? You should only fly it in open areas. If the kite gets stuck, it can cause power outages throughout the village.
Then I'll just pull it down, Johnny. Simple.
No. You shouldn't do that. You can get shocked. You should call Glen at 237 and they will come and help.
Alright.
Glen, energizing our Grenada. Tracksuit, water bottle, sneakers. It's time. Let's get ready to join us on the road this year for Port Bank's annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. Tell your family and friends and let's get moving towards a healthier lifestyle. Carry a coup. Come out in your numbers on Sunday, April 6th from 4 p.m. as we pump it up from Alexis Food Store's car park to the Hillsborough Tennis Court. On Sunday, May 4th, the action is on the mainland. We're hitting the road at 4 p.m. from Montrouge Playing Field to the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Registration ends on May 2nd or while stocks last. So get your packages today. Individual packages cost $20. For groups of 3 or more, packages cost $15 each. Proceeds go towards the Princess Royal Hospital in Carriacou. Visit our website for more details. See you on the road for Welcome Home.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Montrouge Playing Field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Montrouge Playing Field from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towers, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Once again, those of you of our social media platforms, good morning. Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning. Welcome back. Chris, welcome back once again. I want to spend a little time with you once again. I want to talk about food security for a little bit. What specific action do you believe should be taken to enhance food security, especially within Grenada and the region as a whole? What do we do? Because, we're getting to a times now where, and I'm going to talk to you a wee bit about that shortly in terms of the tariffs and all of that's going to be coming around. So managing food security is is vital and important right now. Let's talk a wee bit in relation to that. What do you think? What specific action do you believe should be taken, especially to enhance food security, within the region as a whole?
Well, food security is a real passion of mine. I think really we need to have a more dynamic base of how we look at food. Like, we should not just look at food as meat, a starch, and some veggies. Mm-hmm. We need to think about the type of veggies we consume, the type of foods that are more superfood leaning, is less starch, more probiotics. We need to create a system where we, even though for the wastage products, like things that don't get sold, how do we have a pickling industry where we don't have little wastage, where we ensure that could be resold. And those local pickles is actually good for our stomachs because it helps encourage healthy gut bacteria, and we have a healthier body and a healthier system. We need to look at food security as where we are as a country in terms of climate, our natural resources, and how the climate is going to change over time, and what kind of crops we would need to resist that change. Creating products products around those things we're growing will be a next part of the problem. But I do believe that for us to tackle that food security, we have to look at the situation where there is a company out of Spain who is doing a type of seaweed that is creating a grain in the water, like how they do sea moss. Yeah. But the grain produced is actually way more healthier than rice or quinoa and any of these things. And one thing we don't have like massive fields in Grenada, but we do have a lot of ocean space. We can create different types of products that go around that. We have climate smart agriculture is the future. We have bays that mangroves sit on, and these are supposed to be bolstered by more oysters and things that help clean and filter the water and help also do shoreline protection and wave erosion and making sure that people and those bays don't get overwhelmed with tidal erosion and these kind of things. So agriculture that does not feed our people but serves our country is the type of direction we need to focus on. Food security has to happen by getting more people involved at a lower price point, creating that avenue for that as well.
Now, what would you advocate for bolstering, the local farmers and increase agricultural productivity here in Grenada? What would you boost for that?
Technology. You can see when you watch your reports on television, like a lot of farmers are seeing a lot of predial larceny. They're seeing a lot of like hard work going to waste with mischief and other forms of situations. I think that can really break a farmer. The support services that are needed to help that farmer recover should be also there. We don't have farming insurance in a huge way in this country, but we do need to create the kind of support on a governmental level that helps farmers not just survive, but thrive. Yeah. Whatever we do for security in terms of using drones, in farming districts, it should be regular drone, they can put a couple thermal drones and you can see people in your land at night and know where they are and what is happening. These things, this technology is available. We don't need to run away and try to reinvent the wheel. We need to add more rubber and add more technology and help that wheel run more efficiently. We have a lot of brilliant and great farmers in this country. Giving them the tools that allow that, if it's machinery, if it's more retraining, if it's whatever they need to like do better and provide a product that is more healthy, nutritious, but also profitable for them also.
Who's responsible for doing that for the farmers? Would you leave it up to the farmer themselves to getting to the technological part of things of boosting their production, securing their farms? You leave it to farmers, or should government play an integral part in terms of helping farmers, to boost their productivity? We hear a lot about a conversation lately in terms of what the government is doing on the agriculture part, in terms of the machinery and stuff that they're offering. What more could be done in terms of getting that part of it up and running more?
We need more young people who think of farming differently. I don't think
you think the style of farming is need to change?
We're an iPhone generation. Why do we need to go back to 1920s type of farming with a hoe and a large field and putting on our water boots? And why is that type of farming how we see farming? Farming could be in a 4-story, purely hydroponic farm that produces more poundage in tomatoes and peppers than any 5-acre farm could. The technology is there, and they operate 24/7 because the growth is not dictated by light and certain environmental conditions. You create the environmental conditions for these products to thrive. What you need to do is lower energy costs on these things, and government needs to provide the kind of backdrop in terms of not just creating like solar panels to offset energy costs, not creating, but getting them solar panels to offset the energy costs, but also like in storage, how they can like store through battery power. So like in the nighttime when there's no sun, how they can still keep producing and not worry about the massive part of their cost, which would be energy. So there's different avenues you can take, but what I would say is you need more active, dynamic young people to come into the system and say, hey, I want to become the best tomato farmer, but it doesn't have to be a situation where I'm in a field. I could look up my iPhone and check on yield, where we are in growth. We need to create that kind of open-minded thinking in the industry where we look at young people as true problem solvers of the problems of the future.
Tell me something. I want to talk to you a wee bit in terms of tariffs. I want to get your thoughts on how you think about, the tariff, the impact it will have, especially on local producers now. We understand the United States is the one that is the tariff that they've been implemented lately in terms of the percentage. We know it's going to have an impact on the Caribbean. We know it's been rolled back for the next 3 months, and so it's give some leeway in terms of how the administration and so forth would think and what they're going to do in terms of response to alleviate the problems. Especially when it comes to the consumers, both the positive and the negative impact it will have. Your take on that?
I think it's in a chaotic world. I think it is time to take prudent action of looking within. In tariffs, if anything, has given us an opportunity not to retaliate or what we need to look at is how do we see the global system changing in front of us, and how do we make sure our people can withstand that change in the future. Tariffs is just a tax on the consumer, essentially, because businesses pass that off to the consumer. That would slow down spending, that would slow down economic activity, that would make people feel it in their pockets, which would make them kind of retreat inward to just handle most of their bills. I think we need to create a system where we incentivize more local economic activity. We need to create a system where the products that we have locally should be bolstered and help uplifted to take on more weight, because we may not always have to rely on the incoming ships and containers that refill our supermarket shelves. We may not need to look at the global system as a reliant and always going to be their system. We look at the future as something that is ever changing and ever evolving, and that we need to create a home base that takes care of its people, that makes sure that our business people, our people can thrive and have the ability to withstand the shocks that would come later on. So the tariff is just an opportunity for us to rethink our entire model in terms of what is affecting, and then look at how we create more local opportunities for people to fill that hole, that gap. And I think that's a good way to look
in
at
terms of just getting away of the old ways of doing things
Yeah.
and implementing new ways of doing, which will make a total difference and offset whatever
Yeah.
is going to be coming through. All right, we drew for a break. We want to take that break. And when we come back, of course, we want to give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers. Of course, Chris, I know it's your first time on the program, but we give the opportunities to our listeners and viewers. I'm seeing multiple calls already coming in. I guess to ask you a question or two when we come back. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. We're getting into the final segment of the program. When we come back, stay with us, folks. Don't touch it out.
Coming up on Caribbean Passport TV, it is the Caribbean's newest road running event with a unique twist, famous landmarks, ocean and eco activities. St. Lucia has it all. What are the don'ts when it comes to posting on social media? Next gen chefs, comfy accommodation. It's all next on this station.
Like a freestyle, the life block flowing mile by mile. It's legacy, a beat that don't stop like Bob Marley said. One love on top, the sewage water out of sight, but it's always wrong, don't lose the light. From factories and wells so deep, corals, mangroves and fish they weep. Green water for the garden, keep it green. Save the cash and the earth gets clean. We use the water with a mindful mind. It's out of sight but never far behind. In nature, the answers always flow. Like water running pure, the cycle grows. It renews itself, same drop, same beat. It's all good, man, you got the heat. Water flow, water flow. No clean water, no vibes they grow. Protect our water, protect our future.
Time to go. Hey GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed, stay ahead. First with the news, fast with the updates.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. It's Tuesday, the 15th of April. It's Opposition Tuesday here on the program this morning. And we have, of course, Chris with us this morning and, of course, making his debut on the program this morning. We give the opportunity now to our listeners and viewers of the you may have a question or two you may like to ask Chris. Feel free to do so in this segment. Let's go to the phone line, our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Great, Mr. Telesford. Greetings. How are you?
Doing good, sir.
And, of course, your guest, Mr. Allie. I remember this young man's ancestry. They used to live in St. Paul's, in Labury Junction, not St. Paul, but Labury Junction, thereabout. Am I correct, young man?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. I spoke to your father once or twice. Listen, Mr. Gentleman, Mr. Dialli, I would like to ask you two brief yes-no questions. One, you're are you aspiring to be a quote-unquote politician in this country in the forthcoming years? Yes or no?
That's a maybe, but I'm leaning to a yes.
You're inclined to, I suppose. Okay, I accept that. Now, do you know, sir, that Grenada, our country, has never ever been, although it's been reported and we've been living in it for 51 years, it has never really been on paper documented to be a politically independent and sovereign nation state, yes or no?
I don't understand the question.
Do you know that Grenada is not really quote-unquote independent?
I lean to the fact that I thought Grenada is a very
You
independent...
thought, thank you very much. Likewise, me, sir. Now I go to the task I'd like to charge you with, so the next time you come back, you're doing your debut today, hallelujah. Welcome to the stage. But you will be here dealing with people like me into the future because you have to come back. I would like you to charge you, sir, therefore, with a task to investigate bibliographical references. In 2002, a document was published by a committee set up to overlook the Constitution of Grenada. It was called Constitution Review in Grenada, semicolon, some things to consider. The authors were Nicholas Liverpool, a renowned jurist from Dominica back then. Then there was one called McIntosh, a professor of law in the University of the West Indies. Then there was one Bristol, a Queen's Counsel, a reputable lawyer in Grenada. Then there was one Bassett Harford, a reputable public officer for years. And finally, there was Reverend Gerard Paul. He's the only one of these people living today. May the remainder rest in peace. That document outlined certain things, clearly defining why we should reconstitute the nation. I am not going to tell you what is written there. I would like to urge you, however, to find it and read it. And the next time you come back, you will tell us what you found. Remember my statement. Grenada is not and has never been established as a politically independent and sovereign nation state. I believe, from what I have read there, that we've been duped. But I leave it to you. Do you wish to accept this challenge, sir?
I accept the challenge.
Thank you very much. You have a nice day. Will you likewise, Mr. Telesford, sir?
You too, sir. Have a good one. 435-2041. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, good morning. You're live.
Good morning, Mr. Telesford.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, listen to the gentleman. He's a wonderful... Is it Christopher?
Yes.
Yeah? He's a wonderful gentleman. Listen to me. And look, when you're talking about food in Grenada and all the things that we have there, the breadfruit and this and that, falling down on the floor, wasting and all that, the breadfruit chips and all them things there. Listen, let us come down there in Grenada with children and from the diaspora, and they fed up all the rice and peas and the this and that, and, you know, the barbecue chicken and this and that, you know. So the man is absolutely spot on. You understand? We've got the things there. Yeah, you could go down to Container Park and you could get this and you could get that and all that, right? But his nationality, what's down there? We're talking Grenadian now. This man's talking about Grenada. We have so much thing down there what we could turn into food. And, you know, we don't doing that. You know what I mean? It's spot on. You know, I say enough anyway. Thank you very much, misters. I hope a lot of people who has food places here, there, and there on the street, listen to you what you're saying, because you're absolutely spot on. Because Jamaica is just like that. You understand? We're falling behind in Grenada. And, you know, you see all the breastfoot chips there? Man could even make that and packet that and sell it to the supermarket. And we have a big amount of students that live down there, go and buy it in the supermarket, and they could take it at home and make it.
Thank you, caller.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 435-2041. Any response to the callers thus far in terms of what you've been hearing?
Well, I take the gentleman's Citizen Rollo's research assignment. I'll try to make sure and do some research. But on the other side of things, I do believe that, yeah, I agree that we should have vacuum sealed bags of breadfruit chips in Foodland, Food Fair, Real Value. Just anytime you're ready to go, just pick up a bag of breadfruit chips. That's supposed to be there for us.
I mean, once it's properly processed and everything, it's good to go. Let's try another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning via WhatsApp. Good morning to you.
Good morning, GT, and good morning, Karim.
Good morning.
How are you all doing today?
Doing good. We're doing good.
All right, great. What I would like to see, I'm happy to see Mr. Diali getting into politics, young Diali. I must indeed say I do want to compliment him on his step forward into politics. And I do hope to see a lot more young people like himself getting into that politics. You know, he spoke about the breadfruit, but there's one thing that I would like to also suggest. There's something known as yuca, which is a cassava.
Yep.
I've been going to a restaurant just to get the yuca fries. The yuca fries is out of this world. So I would like to encourage all our farmers. I mean, and yuca doesn't take much. And nobody would come and steal your yuca in the ground. So if they can get into yuca, it would go a very long way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate your contribution there.
Just want to say, yuca is cassava.
Yeah.
And yuca is one of the best chips you could ever make, especially for like using meats or anything like that. So we have cassava all the time. It's just, I think that's a brilliant idea as well.
Okay, great. We'll be able to have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to your guest, young Allie, of course. Your Aunt Bernie and I went to school together, and I know your father, very prominent person. So two things I want to find out. What business you're into. If you're an entrepreneur, what is your career? What is your position? I mean, what are you doing now? What you do for a living? But what I want to, and secondly, the question of the cost of living, which is a concern to everybody, not NNP alone. We have imported inflation, and you will know, because your father is a very prominent person, and you will know that the tariffs right now, Trump is killing us, my friend. China, which is the most important thing. We do so much business with China, and if you look at that chart, everybody will be affected, right? And of course, Trump has suspended it for the next 3 months. But there's no government, even if you listen to Mia Motley the other day, and she was correct, you could put 0 on the whole port. The cost of living, nobody could bring down the cost of living, whether it's NNP or NDC, because of the tariffs. Because you see, Trump now, he wants to, as he say, make America great again, and they must produce everything. So he's squeezing, he's putting pressure on everybody. And we, of course, we small and vulnerable, we're going to feel it. So whether it's NNP or NDC, nobody could control the cost of living, because it is imported inflation that we have no control over. And the thing about it, political parties will want to capitalize on that to see if they could win election, to talk about cost of living, which they know is a very sensitive thing. So politicians don't try and see how they could use that, because irrespective of who come inside there, it's the same thing. If you listen to Mia Motley's speech, she asking Trump to be merciful to us, because we're going to get it down there. So all the best, my friend. And I want to find out what business are you into? Are you an entrepreneur? What is your status right now as regards to employment? But do have a great day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You want to respond to that, caller?
I'm a gourmet mushroom farmer. I do mushrooms.
Yeah.
I started that business in COVID, watching YouTube late at night. Started a business. I started it in GIDC. I moved now to a new location, which is better for temperature control. And yeah, I want to expand my gourmet mushroom business to start seeing it in supermarkets instead of from private clients. I'm into climate smart agriculture. As a business person, I want to invest in businesses that support climate smart agriculture, and where we do more industrial farming in industrial areas and not in like our waterbed in our mountains and those areas. I want to create that kind of ecosystem, and I want to take part in that. So that's where I have been, and I have been employed by myself at doing that. In terms of, I also listened to Mia Motley's speech, and Mia did say for us to battle that, we need to start looking at our CARICOM brothers and sisters. And one of our CARICOM brothers and sisters is part of South America and has the level of resources in terms of land space and industrial capacity, and where they're growing in GDP, where they would become a stable, reliable industrial partner. And they produce rice, they produce meats, they produce all these things. And those that they can't produce can get overland through Brazil. So when you look at imported inflation, I agree, the inflation is imported. But we also can create new routes where that inflation is no longer imported. The same way that every nation is starting to create new trade ties to counteract disruptive trade situation, it's the same way we think we can do it. And it's not about like saying we're taking advantage of the cost of living crisis. I think the cost of living crisis is ever present, and what we are trying to do is find dynamic types of ideas that would alleviate that by the resources we already have.
Oh, great. Let's take our final caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to your guests.
Good morning to you, sir.
And to your listening audience, the listening audience. Mr. Diali, I really want to congratulate you. Congratulate you on a couple of things. One, your retirement. What do I mean by that? You know, you show great desire. When I say desire, when they look at you, you look at someone who is humble and ready to represent. And this is good. This is good. I congratulate you on that. I also listen to you, and I can hear not the eloquence, and I can hear the way you articulate, and it shows me your level of intelligence. And you are right now, when what you are doing is representing the young people of this country, high level already, just by what I'm hearing from you. You have a lot to offer. I like the angles, I like the areas in which you are going, because it's what the young people are interested. You are speaking their language, and this is very good. I just want to ask you, though, with all the intelligence that you have and what you show to the Grenadian people now, and we know that this is the To the Point program, and it's the opposition time, which is the NMP, which means you are representing the NMP at this time. Why the new National Party?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. And that was our final call. I give you opportunity to respond to the caller.
Why the new National Party is because when you get, I have seen what the past and the kind of stalwarts, what they did for this country. And I had to learn the playbook and see what we have for the future. Why the new National Party? The new National Party believes that also our last time we were in government, we tried to do a lot of youth base and tried to develop and invest in the youth. That was all because we had a plan. Our plan right now is to do the fourth step upon our journey, and that is start to create wealth creation through local ownership, try to create more sustainable and more practices that can withstand climate, but also withstand the troubling economics and turbulent economic times. The new National Party is including youth at every stage of its development. I have had the opportunity to really be at the shoulders of some really strong and incredible patriots, and what I've learned from them is also not patience, but also helping fine-tune my ideas and give me responsibility and ownership. And I would love that to encourage more people to start looking at the National Party, because you would see from where we're going, we're trying to increase and retool the party so the party can be built for the long run and the long future. So I would leave that question by saying, why the new National Party? Because I am here, and you can say that the new National Party is starting to have people who want to create a better Grenada for all of us, and I am proud to be a part of the National Party. I think they have entrusted me with a great responsibility to help encourage and push people more, but I also believe a lot in the family that is the new National Party. It is made up of a lot of single, strong women, and that is a backbone of our country, who are mothers, our aunties. They make up our strength of our country, and they have been putting me on their shoulders and telling me, keep going, and that's what I'm trying to do.
All right, great. All right. Chris, I want to thank you a whole lot for being on the program this morning. It's a pleasure having you made your debut on the program, which may I'll be seeing more of you popping by from time to time. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
I would just like to thank you for your time. Thank you for your viewers' time. And I hope when I do more of this, I'll be probably a little less nervous. But I mean, I do take the opportunity to try to help, and I'll do whatever I have to do for my country.
All right, great. Well, the next time you come, you'll be more settled in, and we go through that. Don't worry about it. Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for this edition of To The Point for today. Join me again tomorrow for another edition of To The Point. Until you see me again, have a good one, folks. That's where I say goodbye.